All right, Divine Rising. So today we're talking about notarial acts again in Georgia, and so we're going to be talking about remote online notarizations in Georgia. Okay. So again, welcome to our YouTube channel. We are Atlanta Professional Mobile Notaries, professional notary services. Okay, and so if you've never been to our website, it's www.atlantanotaries, notarys.com. So you can go in there, read information about us, our company, and all the services that we provide. And then we also have some general, just notary education that whether you're someone that needs things, documents notarized, or you're a notary public yourself, and you're just looking for more information and building community, we have a lot of information on our website to help you do that. Also, if you want to join our notary network nationwide, whether you're in Georgia or in other states, if you go to our About Us page, and you read, of course, don't just scroll to the bottom and get read about us too, but it's a brief section on there. We got a nice introduction video on there too, but then right below that there's some information about how you can join our team all around the nation, because we are a notary signing agency. So if you're in other parts of Georgia, or because we're in the metro Atlanta area, and so, but if you're in other parts, somewhere around the metro Atlanta area, we would love to connect with you. But if you're in other states too, we are contacted for notaries in other states. We do get booked for those kind of signings, so it would be great to just have you in our network, as well as us performing apostilles too. So sometimes we do need someone to connect with that may be able to be on the ground in another state that could help coordinate. So yes, we appreciate you. All right, and so you can join our team. You can scroll to the bottom of our About Us page, and you'll see the information. Join our team, and then fill out the information. It's like a very brief. It should take no more than 5 minutes to fill out, and you'll be added to our database. And if we get a sign in your area, we will reach out to you soon. We'll be creating a Discord group, and you can join our Discord group, and that'll be cool. All right, because then you can really stay connected with us even closer. Because Discord is, it's almost like a group chat essentially. So cool. And then if you ever need us, then you can send some appointments our way too. So it's a two-way street. All right. With that being said, remote online notarizations. Let's talk about it. Remote online notarizations have been suspended in the state of Georgia, and I just wanted to share information because weeks ago well, it's almost a month, like last month, essentially we released a video, and I was so ecstatic about the video because we were just talking about remote online organizations in Georgia, and it was a really cool process. There's audio visual technology, and essentially it works like FaceTime or Microsoft Teams or Zoom, or Google Hangout or Skype. There's all these different this software and technology has been around for some time, as far as being able to talk to each other on video, on the phone, using video and audio. But the cool thing about remote online notarizations is that it used um, knowledge. There was a knowledge-based assessment or authentication that occurred with clients. So you would get a 5-question survey, and essentially you would have to answer 4 out of 5 of the questions correctly to pass the KBAs. And that was one way that your identification was validated. And then there's also ID verification, where you have to essentially take a picture of the front and the back of your phone, and then a picture of yourself, and then it validates your identification. And then there, can also send you a text message, and that could then confirm your identity as well. So once you book your appointment with a certified remote online notary like us, okay. And so it was a really great process. And then once you passed all of the ID verification, then you will be brought into, you could actually, like, let's say you called on Monday and you booked a remote online notarization with us when it was legal, then and you set it up for Thursday. So okay, and then you pass all the ID verification. We don't get any information as far as like the survey and stuff like that, or we don't. And it also okay, so that just to let you know, because I don't want people thinking like we just get a database stored that goes to the third party software. Okay, and the third party software is the one that is validating your ID, your photo IDs, and also the KBAs. Okay, so that doesn't come to our company. Okay, and so once you pass that, then it'll let us know though that like, hey, client 1 and 2 have passed their ID validation verifications and their KBAs, and can join the meeting when it's scheduled to start. Okay, and yeah, once you so the remote online notary would actually go in. You would either you would upload your documents, you would email them or upload them, and when they came, let's say it was a power of attorney. Yeah, it was a power of attorney. Um, let's say it was an acknowledgement. Let's say it was a power of attorney. Okay, so you needed to sign and you needed a witness to sign it. Okay, and then you needed it to be notarized. Okay, so let's say client 1 is the actual signer that's giving. I can't remember the exact name for it, but let's say signer 1 is the person who is giving power of attorney to client 2. Okay, or client, well, giving power of attorney to someone. It could be someone else. It doesn't have to be client 2. Let's say they're giving power of attorney authority to someone else to serve over said assets. Okay, um, client 2 is the witness. Okay, so not the person that's gaining the authority, uh, but they're just a impartial party, so they serve as a witness. Okay, so both of them go through ID validation, verification, and KBAs. Okay, um, let's say I upload that, and then let's say that there's also a acknowledgement that goes with that form as well too. Okay, so let's say there's two forms essentially, and each person, client 1 and 2, both have to sign each document. Okay, so I go in and tag the document, and essentially tagging is letting the software know, hey, on these two blank spaces, client 1 has to sign. So there's a signature block one on print and sign on, and then initial where the assets, what type of assets you are transferring authority to said person. Okay, so let's say there's three places that um, client 1 has to initial, and then there's a place where client 1 has to write, print their name, and then there's a place where the client needs to sign. Okay, um, cool. We'll make it really simple. Okay, then client 2, same thing. They need to, as a witness, just, well, not same thing. They just need to um, initial and sign as a witness. Okay, so boom, I say on both pages. I highlight. Signer 2 will be initialing here, signing here. Second page, initial here, sign there. Okay, cool. Then finally, I go in and put, if there's like, let's say that it needs to be dated, initialed, it needs to be dated, and I need to print my name, and then I also have to sign my name. Okay, so boom, I highlight, say, notary, again, my information is already in the system because, I'm, as a notary, I'm notarizing documents in there. So it knows, okay, cool, notary's gonna put information here, 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 and then also say, hey, add notary stamp, cool. So, and I put that same information for both pages. All right, so let's say we fast forward to Thursday, we're at the remote online notarization. the clients are both, once the remote online notarization is, the tagging is finished, they're automatically going to get emailed, and I will get an email as well to a link to join the remote online notarization the same way you would with Teams or Zoom. And then once the time is ready, they can actually click the link to join. Then it'll let them know, hey, you know, the notary has started the meeting. So then they can actually join. Okay, they join. You welcome them in, get them to, of course, be kind, professional. Hey, good morning, good day, good afternoon, grand rising. How are you doing today? Great. Okay, can you please? I just want to let you all know that this is a remote online organization, and so we're using audiovisual software technology, and this meeting is actually being recorded. Okay, just for proof that this notarial act occurred. Okay, and then once you get past that, go ahead and allow them to state their identification, identify themselves with their names. Okay, and ask them to state their names, and then you can ask them, as well too, like if you want them to confirm, that their driver's license. Hey, I know you provided a driver's license. Can you please, state, the driver's license number and the expiration date. Okay, that's another great thing too. Just provides on the audio recording, the visual recording. You can actually have them put up the ID as well too, just for proof. That you, and then you can check the ID there too as well. And then it just provides again that this person has verified their identification, and again, the software does have a copy of it, and it will allow you to check that ID and pull it up and mirror it to be able to make sure that that is the actual ID that was submitted, you know, for that person doing the identification validation or verification. Okay, so cool. You get past that part. Both people prove that they have valid ID, and they are the person on those identifications. You can let them know. You can hey, we are here to notarize two documents for you, and you know. They might chime in, yeah, it's my power of attorney and my acknowledgement. Okay, excellent. I have both of those documents up and ready for us to sign. So, client one, if you want to go ahead and on this first page, it's going to allow me to it's going to allow me to just share my screen. Once I share my screen, it'll allow me to pick a signer, a person to sign. So there's two documents here. The portion, the part where I'm going to give you control and allow you to sign the parts of the document where your name is, or your signature, or your information is required. Okay, and typically, for instance, there might be an attorney that highlighted a portion for their client to sign where it needs to be witnessed and where a notary needs to sign. They'll be either highlighted or tagged. So I even reference that in our remote online notarization. Hey, you'll see that there are clearly specific lines of information that your attorney requested. They're highlighted, and so in this form now, your information where only you were requested to sign by your attorney will be highlighted if you want to go ahead and fill in that information. So I'll select, client one. It'll usually be their name, so let's say it's John Doe. Okay, John Doe, I'm going to go ahead and give you permission to sign, and literally only where John Doe can sign is highlighted. Okay, so John will go in their initial of those three columns or three spaces, and then fill out the other information for page one. And when someone signs, a digital timestamp is put on the document, so their name, they can actually fill it in, um, or use their mouse. It'll allow them to sign, and then on their phone as well too, or a tablet. So okay, they'll sign. What'll happen is their signature plus their printed name plus a date and a time will all show up in the spot, in that block. Okay. Um, and which is excellent because it provides an extra layer of validity, when it, of course, again, you're performing it in a state where it's legal at. Okay. So that extra bit of information is, it's just really nice to have. Okay. So again, that'll happen, and then you'll go over to page 2 and allow that person to fill out their information there as well. Okay, you look it over it, make sure that they didn't leave anything out. Okay, John, I'm going to go ahead and give permission to Jane, though, client too, to serve as the witness. Rinse and repeat. They'll do the same thing. Only the blocks where Jane Doe, client 2, can enter information will be available to be filled out. Okay, and so Jane fills out page 1, page 2. Okay, you check the document. Okay, everything that John needed to fill out has been complete. Everything Jane needed to fill out has been complete. Now it's the notary. You witnessed, you attested to, the documents being signed and filled out by the client. Now you go and fill out your information, notarize the document, you sign, put your digital stamp on it, and on both pages. And now the notarization is really complete. So again, you can triple check everything, and thank Jane and John for booking with you, and let them know you're about to end the video conference. But as soon as the conference is over, you'll be able to download the document and send them a copy of it, and then you hang up and do that. Excellent process, and it was so smooth because you could, as long as the notary was in Georgia, the client could be in another county, another city, another state, another country, continent. You could, I mean, yes, you would be fine as long as you have Wi-Fi and set up tag the document properly so that none of the required information was left blank. I mean, you would be fine. And I mean, it was a smooth process, but it was suspended April 15th. Okay, and so because it's officially suspended by the state, we can no longer perform remote online notarization. So hopefully they'll go ahead and pass the bill, and it'll be permanently legal in the state of Georgia, because a lot of people need documents that they need a Georgia. It were People have said that they need a Georgia notary, to actually notarize the document. And if that is the case, if you need a Georgia notary and you're in another state, and it can be, a lot of times it's transferring assets or something that of ownership, because some people don't really consider cars assets. Typically they're not considered assets, but that's another conversation. But and the reason I'm saying that is because even with sometimes people have purchased vehicles or they're selling vehicles, and they may not be in the state of Georgia, but they need it notarized in Georgia. It's like they have to fly back, or to Georgia, or they would utilize a remote online notarization, which would save them a lot of money. So that's the big difference. So yeah, I mean, same thing with people who are out of the country who are moving assets like real estate. You know, if you're out of the country, which we've had clients that are, and they got to move real estate, there are ways like a power of attorney that they have used to, um, you know, to allow someone else to manage that asset for them while they're out of the country. again, this is just educational. We're just having a conversation about things that we have seen exist. Again, I'm not telling you how you have to do things, but again, just following the state laws are super helpful. And again, because prime example, if someone needs a notarial act and like your sophomore where it might work still, even though the state has suspended remote online notarizations, the software might allow you to go in there and still perform it. So with that being in mind, you just want to make sure that you don't do it, because you don't want to. If a document is improperly notarized, then it's not valid. And so, if someone needed, a valid notarization for whatever they're doing, which typically, if they're asking for it to be notarized, they need a valid. You don't want to interfere with their personal life or business, because that's the thing. When people are coming to you for notarial services, it's important stuff. Period. So you don't want to, uh, you know, have a negative impact on someone's life, or business. You want to, be a blessing and help them out, and that's what public servants are. That's what we do. We help, help people. So, with that being said, just be mindful of those things, and yeah, remote online organizations. I really hope that they pass the bill, and so that we can. Because another thing for remote online notarizations, I'll say, and I'm gonna end this, was that you have like states like Texas. It's huge. It's huge. You have certain states that transact in real estate. They have e-closings. So this is not. It's not new. It's still being adopted, even in certain industries. So it is fairly still a new practice, but it's not like it just started yesterday. It's been around for years, and it's just something that, it's becoming, it's still expanding, and it's still being adopted by industries and by states, and by businesses. And so I've even seen companies like FedEx, they offer them, but they don't. They just contract it out to a third party. But be that as it may, it's just that they're getting involved. There's other companies too that are getting involved that don't even provide those kind of services, but they're getting involved in the space because it's going to be a thing. It's in the future it's going to be the norm of how things are notarized, just because of the ease and convenience and the safety of it. I mean, you don't have to, like with COVID, you don't have to be that close to somebody. You can just, do it at a distance. You don't have to provide, invite somebody into your business or home. You can literally just jump on a computer screen and knock it out. And it saves a lot of time, and it's more eco-friendly. It saves you gas, because you're not hopping in the car to drive across town and notarize a document for someone. So it's gonna be it's the way of the future, but it's gonna be the way in the near future. So it's just, whenever the state of Georgia adopts it too, because there's a lot of there are notary platforms that allow notaries just to, you know sit in to be on in their database, and as people are looking for documents to be notarized, if you're available, you can just they'll just bring you in, and it's almost like people make this part of their business model. Like, hey, like Notarize, for instance, is one of those platforms where people, who are remote online notaries, they're in their database, and as appointments make themselves available, those people provide the RON for whoever needs it. Um, and I mean, people are making good money doing it too. So even as a notary, I think they start you out at like $5 a notarization, and then there's levels to it as you perform. Like once you reach a certain amount of notarizations, then you start making more and stuff. So, but those platforms aren't on board, and there are several of them, and they're not on board in the state of Georgia yet because it wasn't permanent. Remote online notarizations (RON) is what it's often referred to as. Wasn't permanent yet in Georgia, so they didn't fully on board in the state. And an example of it, which I never thought it was going to get suspended, because I'm like, oh, they're consistently renewing it. I'm like, okay, cool, I get it. They're just gonna keep doing this every month, because I was skeptical about it at first, but after like 6 months of them just continuously renewing it, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, it's just gonna stay like this until they pass it. Wrong, wrong. And so I see why those companies didn't take, all the money and invest in, planting themselves here in the state if it wasn't permanent yet. So yeah, I know that there are companies that still offer remote online notarizations to clients who are in Georgia, because they claim that if you need a notarization, a RON, if you use it, it's still valid as long as the person isn't a notary in Georgia. To me, that is, they could be right on interpreting that. Essentially, they're interpreting the law and telling clients that. And see, some of these companies, yeah, that's just a very thin line. Because as notaries, we have to know the law, as far as at least notarial laws, and we do essentially have to interpret them, because that's the way that we are able to abide by them and provide you, professional notary services. With that being said, we aren't lawyers, so we can't give you legal advice. This is just education. In educating in my own personal education. So I'm also getting my PhD in public policy. So uh, yeah, and yeah. I, with that being said, I would just I don't know. I'm skeptical myself. If I needed something notarized, if I would ask a company or a notary that was commissioned in another state to notarize something for me remotely. I guess because, again, if they're not a Georgia notary and I'm in Georgia, and that's what the notarization. I mean, maybe your document doesn't require a Georgia notary. If it doesn't require a Georgia notary, then I wouldn't be so pressed about if I decided to go with a remote online notarization. But you know, I mean, you can always, if it requires a Georgia notary, though, I personally wouldn't have someone notarize it that wasn't a Georgia notary. So I wouldn't go the remote online notarization route. I would just get it notarized by a professional company like ours. You know, yeah, that's what I would do. And there are plenty of notaries out here who can, notarize your stuff. I'm not gonna say everybody's professional or knows really what they're doing, and I think that's the thing. I've just come across a lot of people, who are notaries, but they're not as well educated on notarial laws or acts. And that's where I just encourage you, like, if that's where you are at, is like, just be real with yourself and just educate yourself as a notary. Because what a lot of notaries don't understand is that they'll just sign stuff and notarize it, and if it ever comes into question in the court of law, then you can be, held liable for improperly, or or just notarizing stuff. But especially if you did it improperly, if you follow the laws and everything like that, I think that's to your benefit, because I mean, you did your due diligence. And to me, that's where I have a lot of comfort in the liability. There's also E&O insurance, and a lot of notaries don't know about this, but E&O insurance protects you up to the dollar amount if you are ever held liable in someone's legal dispute. And of course, if you're held liable, then it's something that they are attaching to that notarial act that occurred, that is in this litigation. So an example of that could be like real estate. or let's say a car sale, or I mean anything that someone is going to court about, and even it could even be someone's health. Like if you sign some document that allows someone to have health decisions, and you know, based on someone else being able to determine to be someone's healthcare provider, there, I think it's like a power, it's like a health kind of, I can't think of the term, the document, but essentially, it's like a power of attorney over someone's health. Um, man, yeah, we talk about this document all the time. Be that as it may, you know, again, you are signing a lot of personal documents. You are in the heart of what people have going on, to the point where, you know, being able to be discreet is very important, because you may be dealing with matters that only the two, people in their own household may or may not know what's going on. Like, for instance, there could be things going on with the adults that the children don't know, and as an example, or whatever. Or, you're dealing with a lot of personal information, okay? And in dealing with that personal information, um, or even professional, information, it could be something going on with someone's business, and, they could be an adult and their parents could be in there and their parents don't know what's going on. What I'm saying is you're dealing with a lot of personal information. So being able to be discreet about it and be professional about it is going to be everything to your clients, okay? So be mindful of those things. And yeah, I just really, really encourage you to educate yourself on being a notary, and following the laws, because it's going to help protect you. E&O insurance is very important to have. It's not very expensive. I think, and you got to check the rates. The NNA they have a company, you can purchase it through the NNA, and that's what we did, and I feel so great about doing that. I think for about $120 provides you about $120,000 or $100,000 worth of insurance. So, and that's another benefit of having an LLC too. You know, so a lot of, you might just be operating as, Joe the notary, or Jane the notary. Again, you don't have to have an LLC, but when you think about liability, this is something to think about. Okay, so again, I hope you have a blessed week, productive week, and I hope you have fun meeting people in the community and notarizing documents. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. Again, visit our website at www.atlanta, NOTARYS. We look forward to serving you, and just continuing to help you grow, help us grow as notaries as well too, and helping you educate yourself on being not only just a Georgia notary, but a notary in general. Okay.